when you thought you were doing it. Yeah.
Well, I'm here today with Sandy Preston, and I've shared this before, and I'm not kidding. Okay, if you've been to a horse show at any length of time racking horses, you know who Sandy Preston is.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, she rode the world grand champion speed racking horse, and a bad cat, Woodstock. We know him as Woodstock.
Nope.
And he was just you call him Woody?
Woody.
Okay,
yeah.
You call him Woody. I just
Called
hit
him
me
Woody.
there. Call him Woody, but he was absolutely a bad cat. Sandy, good to have you with me. How long have you been fooling with these horses?
I got my first horse when I was in second grade.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it professionally since 1978. So that's what, 40 some years?
That's a pretty good while.
Long enough to know better?
Yeah. No, that's longer than 40 some years.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, because we've been married 42 years. I don't know when I married you.
46 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
long time.
That is something else. Well, you know, when you think about this, you've seen a lot of things change over the years, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
When we talk about horses, showing horses, not just horses, but showing horses, what are some things that stand out in your mind? Changed.
The classes have grown. I mean, a number of classes have grown.
Right.
Like when I first went to the celebration was probably 1988. They had 2 speed classes, padded and flat shod. And I think there were 23 horses total, and it was one class.
Right.
And now we've got, what, 14 speed classes?
Yeah.
And I've seen the price go up.
Right.
You know, $2,500 back then would buy you a world champion.
That was, you know.
Long time ago.
Yeah. And that's a big difference, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, what about I've shared this the other day, what I'm seeing is, and see if I'm in lockstep with what you're saying, I'm seeing too, in a class, I'm seeing 3 and 4 first place horses.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, it's an opinion.
Yeah. And you see me, you're thinking, man, they could tie this horse or this horse or this horse or this horse.
Yes.
You know, and but meanwhile, there's somebody sitting on a horse there that knows exactly who they ought to tie. How does that work?
Well,
come on.
I don't profess to be able to see how anybody else rode.
Right.
And you know, everybody has an opinion. I can sit here in the stands and watch and see the whole ring, and I'm not a judge that sees it for 10 seconds as they go by.
Right.
So I might like a front end on a horse. Right. You might like a headset. Right. Somebody else might like speed. So it's an opinion. Yeah. And the way I look at it, if you don't like the opinion, you just don't ask for it anymore.
You know, and the scary thing is, and I try to really discipline myself. Okay, and I do good sometimes, and sometimes I don't. But I mean too, because we see things different. Somebody see a horse a little different. One time years ago, we had a good pacing horse that Herman and I had bought together, and it did run a little in the rear end. Okay. But I spent a lot of time defending that horse. You know what I mean? Say, no, he's not running. And he really did run. Okay? He really did run in the rear. But he was fast on the straightaway.
Yeah.
Sucker was and he was fast in the curve. But he really did hit that little lick in the rear end every once in a while. Yep. But, you know, I think, and I've shared this, and I hate to I shouldn't use the term beat a dead horse, but I hate to beat a dead horse. What we do sometimes, we forget about these relationships and the friendships and the things like that, and you have to be careful.
Yes, you do. Yeah. I don't judge horse shows for a reason. There are people that love their horse that I don't like it at all. Right. And I'm sure there are those that don't like mine, and that's okay. Yeah. You know, but I don't want to give somebody an opinion. Right. That's why I don't judge horses.
Yeah. Well, now see, and there's a few people that I've interviewed, and you know, I mean, you do this for a living. Am I right?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
You're not independently wealthy, and you just somehow.
Nope.
And I shared this with Rick McGaha a minute ago, make sure he didn't have an oil well in his front yard or something like that.
No.
But you do this for a living.
I do.
That's a whole different ballgame.
It is, absolutely.
Okay.
You gotta make nice horses, or you're not going to keep customers.
Right.
So there's a lot of work and a lot of time goes into it, and because it's your reputation, you know. Right. And I feel that I've proven over the years, if I come in the ring, I'm usually coming in on a good horse, or I don't put it in the ring. Right. And I have a certain type of horse that I like, right, as everybody has their own type of horse. And so you got to present something good, or you're not going to stay in business.
Right. What do you ever find? Say you think you really got a good horse until you get to about the first weigh, and the bottom falls out of your market. You know what I mean?
Oh,
everything
100%.
goes to heck in a handbasket.
Yep.
That is an awful feeling.
It is, and it can be taken away from you just like that.
Yeah.
You might have 10 customers one day, and you make the wrong one mad, and you got none.
You know,
exactly, so it's the way it is in this business.
Yeah.
And it's
in the horses, there's no exact science. It's not like a race car and other things like that. I mean, you know what I mean? You really, there's no, they have all these personalities, don't they?
They do, and they have moods just like people.
Yeah.
You know, my horse that I showed the other night, he's gone in this ring and world championships and won world championships and been perfect, and absolutely was completely different horse the other night.
Yeah.
To where I had to excuse myself.
Right.
Because I could tell it wasn't going to be pretty if I didn't.
And,
you know, here I am going to be sitting with nothing to show on stake night.
Right.
Because my horse just wasn't in the mood to do it.
Well,
and that happens
when you excused yourself, and we were watching and said the same, Janice admires that. And she said, now that, she said that you should, I mean, if you gallop and run it, now some people think you ought to stay there and line up and take your medicine. And that's, everybody's got their own opinion. But sometimes, and you know, I've seen Sue done that, do that. I mean, if something really goes haywire, I've seen her excuse herself and go on out of the ring.
I don't care to stay in there and get beat if I break in front of a judge or something.
Right.
But that was going to be dangerous for other people and myself.
Right.
And it was just time to go. It just wasn't that. Like I say, I'm one, if I get beat, I'll stand in the lineup and I'll take it.
Right.
But if it goes to that extreme and it was going to be scary for other people, I'm out.
Right. And you know, and like I said, everything's, and I've shared this before, and I don't have news stories. Janice says I need news stories. I don't have news stories. Okay. One time we was putting on a little horse show in Tazewell, Virginia, and we always got the spotlight from the high school. We spotlighted them horses as they come in, and it really was cool. And I was training walking horses in, and I had walking horses training them, and I come in on the most three-legged thing you'd ever seen in your life. I'm talking about real, not like, you know, when a horse's sucker was just a three-legged under that spotlight. And I've had great rides, but I remember that one. That sticks out in my mind. Golly.
I guarantee it. And there are those rides where you're like, man, if I could just have that one back.
Yeah.
If I could just do it again a different way. But, you know, that's.
Jason Hughes told me something. Now I want you to tell me what comes to your mind. He told me the other day that Billy Gray told him one time, he said, every horse has one great show, and that show stands out to you. And people remember it, and you remember it, and you'll work yourself to death trying to get that one back. But when you think about a horse that you've had that really made a great show,
who would be my number one? Windjammer. My Windjammer horse back in the day.
Oh yeah.
He was one of a kind.
Yeah.
And he was really ahead of his time for, like, he's as fast as what everything is now.
Right.
But back then, you know, they had Spec, and Spec was slower than a lot of them, but he was stylish.
Right.
And so my Windjammer horse, I think the day I ride to heaven, I'd say I'm going to be riding on him. You know, I think he'll come back and get me.
It stands out in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know that a lot of people knew you by him.
Yes. Windjammer made me.
Right. Yeah. You know, talk about you, Sandy and Windjammer. Sandy and Windjammer.
Windjammer made people look at me and gave me the respect.
That's cool.
So he made me. My Crimson Tide mare, she was a really good one too. But Windjammer was the one that got my attention. That made people look at what I was riding.
That's neat.
Yeah. So we had a special relationship. In fact, the year that I beat Spec at the spring celebration and Spec hadn't been beat, I was riding him the next day, just walking him around, and a guy from Texas walked up and he said, I want to buy your horse. He handed me a check. Wasn't filled out. He said, I want your horse. Fill it out. I said, nah, I don't want to sell him.
Yeah.
And he said, but money's not an option. And I said, at the time, Windjammer was 18 years old. And I said, nah, he just went in that ring and gave me 100% of everything he had.
Right.
And I said, and I'll bury him someday because he earned it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of aggravated with me at the time, you know.
Right.
And so I buried him at the age of 38.
Man alive.
Yep. I kept him till he was 38 years old. He's buried right outside my ring.
Huh. Ain't that something?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
They one give you everything they got. They
Right.
deserve to have somebody give them all they got.
Yes, sir. Well, I tell you what, and you have got an opportunity to one of the horses that touched our life. We talk about Mr. Evolution. I don't want
Yes.
to be about him, okay? But I mean, I like that little
Yep.
rascal.
He's a little engine that could.
That's
What we
exactly.
call him.
I've said he's a 58-inch horse with a 62-inch heart.
Absolutely.
He's just,
Absolutely.
and he looked just as spry out here the other
He
night. His
thinks
eyes, and
he is 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
to be 19 years old,
Yep.
and
yeah, he carried my kid to the Juvenile World Championship, and then this week he carried one of our customers, little 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Took her through.
Yeah.
So he's unique, and we'll make sure that he's got a good home till the day he dies.
And the only colt out of him won here.
Yeah, Johnny Red.
Yeah, Johnny Red won the other night, and was a bad cat
yes,
too.
He was.
I mean that rascal laid on that rail.
Yes, he
and I heard Brad holler right here. I was sitting
He's
right
hollering
here.
Up at
Did you hear him hollering at him?
Yeah, he was
yelling at him, "Come up here!"
I
thought the only thing I do different on him, I'd have me a long set of reins where I could whip back and forth like you do in pipe.
I don't think he needed it. He was catching everything.
That sucker was. I liked him. I really. And I hope that wasn't his one great show. Okay.
I saw him do several good ones in Decatur down in the days, so I think he's all right.
I like him. I just really like him. When we think about horses that really touched our life, and I talk about this sometimes, and I know we talked some about this, but when we talk about the relationships that you make at horse shows, it's funny, okay, because you go in the ring with people that you want to send home crying, and you want them to be upset.
Yep.
And to feel, and then but then you go back out there and we all talk and everybody talks, but I think it's funny the camaraderie is different because I go in the warm-up ring a lot and watch in the warm-up ring, and I watch people sort of a little standoffish and they're sort of looking at the other horses. It's really neat.
Well, sometimes you just got to get in your head. You got to get in the game. I do that. I walk off and just kind of get in my
showmanship.
You got to get in your mind and figure out, because it's like chess. You got to set yourself up to be in the right place at the right time, and everything's got to fall in line for you to be able to go in there and have that perfect ride that you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think it's a neat thing, and we've said it before when we say, well, just go in there and ride your ride. I say, if you want to get 4th and 5th, you better go in there with a plan to destroy whoever's been winning. Okay, you better get up there on their rear end, and you better pass them. And Ken Jackson told me one time back when I was showing against other horses, he said, John, if you don't pass them, you can't beat them. If you don't pass them.
As long as you're looking good when you pass them.
Yeah, and preferably not in the slow gate.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and there are faster horses, but if you're riding a stylish horse, then judges need to look at the whole overall picture and not just, well, that's the fastest thing in the ring.
One thing we're trying to get back to is 3 gates.
Yes.
Okay. And I think we're working with it. Okay, we're working with it because you can't bend this thing too hard or it'll break. You got to it's like sometimes you got to wet a twig and bend it a little bit. And I see this thing moving, and I've seen some things happen that people get a little upset about. But I said it's 3 gates.
Yes.
And when you talk about a country speed horse, a sucker's got to have a brisk walk.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's got to have a brisk walk. He's got to sit there on that rail, and he needs to be on that rail. And there's things that will, but the only way to make that happen is if it's me on a horse or if it's one of your horses, if it's not brisk walking or if it's not on the rail, not to tie you.
Right.
Because we can talk about it from now on. But when you get your butt kicked, you remember it a little better.
Oh, yeah, you absolutely do.
Yeah. And it can happen.
Yeah. I do agree with that. And it's like I say, the bottom line is it's an opinion.
Yeah.
And is there politics involved sometimes? Yeah, there definitely
where
is.
Isn't there?
But there is in everything.
If it's chicken fighting or whatever you're doing.
Back in the 80s, it was extremely political, and we could all stand outside the ring and tie the class.
Yes.
And that was exactly how it was going to go.
Right.
And then you just had to get in the mindset, okay, well, 1st and 2nd, we know who's going to win it. So if I get 3rd, I won.
Right.
And that's just the mentality you had to go in there with. And it's, you can't keep everybody happy. And
one thing when I spoke to a letter that I wrote from the Speed Association to the judges this year, I said, I just want you to give everybody a chance.
Right.
Now, I don't mean that a horse that hasn't won 3 times in a row, the world, it doesn't mean they won't win again. I'm
Right.
not saying don't tie them. I'm not saying who to
Right.
tie or not to tie, but just make sure you give everybody a look, because it's easy. And if you are judging and you see a horse come in, you're saying, well, that's a good horse. He's done one 3 times or 4 times, or he's won this. And so you've sort of got a little room there, and you go ahead and begin to look for your second and your third and fourth place horse.
Yeah.
But
I feel like it's kind of like boxing, in my opinion. If you win it, for somebody to take it from you, they got to beat you.
Right.
You can't be as good as them.
Right.
You need to beat them.
Right.
And I do feel that way. I feel like that world grand champion or that world champion has earned the respect.
Right.
That you got to beat him.
Yeah.
Not just, okay, well, it's time for something new.
Right.
And go on.
I agree. I agree.
You got to actually beat them.
And I'm telling you something. We're having a good horse show here. I think we are. I think having a good horse show, and I believe we're going to be here for a few years. And it looks good. The breed is growing. We've got more horses now than what we've had previous years. It's growing. The people, we're getting more people, more horses, and the excitement you see out in the barn area. Mm-hmm. See a lot of hustle and people moving around and things like that. And I've got hope for it all. I really do.
I think speed horses will just continue to grow, in my opinion.
And I tell you what's happening too is Trail Pleasure is, we're 25 head.
Right.
And stuff like it. Do you have any trail horses?
We have one of our kids at the barn. Mm-hmm. Yes, Allison. Yeah, she's got a nice little Trail Pleasure mare.
You may need some more.
We might need some more.
You might need some more, because I'm telling you what.
It's a popular division.
Then people are spending money on them, and they'll pay training. If you can get little Susie or little Henry on that sucker, Grandma's going to spend money. Okay, okay. I mean, but I see a lot of trainers going toward that direction, and I don't think we have a trainer's Trail Pleasure class, an open.
No,
there's nothing for that, is there?
Not that I know of.
There really isn't, and there's going to have to be some evolution there somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm going to tend to the speed end of it, but in the trail, there's going to have to be some evolution.
Yeah, it has evolved a whole lot.
Yeah, it really has. It's all in like these trail horses. And the thing about when we get into the speed horses, are so versatile. And they just allowed this year in the padded horses, they can go from bare-legged to a chain class.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that's a big evolution for that. It opened up so many more classes for them.
Yeah, things definitely are changing. And like you say, the first year I came to the celebration, they had the flat shod speed class was Tuesday morning. Mm-hmm. Tuesday morning. That was the only speed racking class they had. Yeah. Tuesday morning, And now, like you say, you have massive classes, massive number of classes, which it's great.
Right.
I think I mentioned to you, I think we're in need of an amateur rider class.
I do too.
To help the trainers out.
Right.
Because we work horses for people, but they'd like to show their own horse, but for them to show their own horse that I'm training, they have to go in an open class with other trainers. And that's hard for them to be competitive.
I believe
so
too.
If you have an amateur rider class, then people that have horses in training with a trainer can have a class for them versus having to go in there with trainers.
And it opens up a market.
Yes.
It opens up a market for you, for people that want to show in amateur classes, and we can get it, and then we could evolve into amateur 3 and 4 year old, amateur riders 3 and 4 year old. There's all kinds of things we could evolve into. Yeah. Same thing. Walking horses are split up into so many classes. My Lord, they got 2-year-old mare amateur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of things like that. And what we've done this year is we added a lot of different country classes, country speed, and I think we'll feel them more next year.
Yeah.
I think we will.
I think you will, since you divided it up.
I do too.
They're smaller now. They look smaller, but that's because you split it up.
Yeah.
Instead of having 30 in there,
yeah.
Still had 20 in the stakes, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's good.
Sure.
All right, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Okay. And I've asked this to a few people. Have you ever seen somebody that you just didn't really like, and you didn't know why? But you seen somebody else that you liked, and you didn't really know why. For example, all right, I was talking to Blaze Bacard out here last night, and we're friends. Okay, I text her, and she texts me back. I say, how you doing? She says, okay. And I guess that'd make us friends. So and I took my picture with her, but Janice lets me take a picture with her. So anyway, and I like her, and I talked to her and I said, I don't know why I like you. And I said, but I've been working on it in my head. It's because she smiles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now, and I've had friends. I've got a friend of mine that passed away now. Nicest guy you ever seen, but he didn't really smile a lot, and his mouth was made a little bit down. But he was as good a man as you'd ever met in your life.
Trumpy.
But isn't it something though? So I mean, that's what I see. Okay. I mean, when you see somebody, and you can be honest, they won't know who you're talking about. But you ever see somebody, you just think that sort of irks me just a little bit, or that what's that thing?
Yeah, honestly.
Why do you do it?
Well, everybody just gets judgmental, you know. We tend to think, oh, that person looks so grouchy and so negative.
Right.
And I don't like negative people.
Well, you said they look so grouchy, so negative.
Yeah.
We judge them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
I don't care what anybody says. I judge a few people, okay?
Of course, I get accused of that all the time because I'll be outside and I'll be laughing and joking and smiling, but I get in the ring, I'm serious.
Yeah,
so there's a difference in serious.
Yeah, well, but we allow for that. You know, that's like Christy Dykes is about as nice a person as you ever met in your life. I'm gonna tell you, when she's in that ring, that is the most serious little old girl you ever seen in your life. I laughed the other day, and you do the same thing, okay? I watch her when she comes in the ring. You think she's just riding. She ain't. She knows where everybody is in that ring.
Oh, yeah.
And you do the same thing. You're looking. You don't know you're looking, but you're looking at everybody. And you know where you are, and you know where they are, and you know who's going to try to beat you, and you know who's going to try. But that is beautiful. That is showmanship.
It's strategy, a lot of strategy. But you got to know where your competition is for sure.
Yeah.
But you'll see me a lot of times. I'll look over my shoulder,
right?
Because I don't like to be in a bunch and have to race.
Right.
I like to.
Now, you're a little more blatant about your looking, okay? Now, Chris is not like that, but now you do look. I watch you turn your head. Now, come to think of it, see, I watch you looking. I watch you looking around. Like
where is everybody?
You're not smiling either. You're looking very intently, and but I watch that. But I mean, I just think about that. And I like people. I enjoy people, man.
Yeah.
I enjoy people more than anything. Janice tries to keep me under control because I'll talk to everybody. I mean, I just meet, hey, we just sit down and start talking. I know what's going on, where they've been, but I enjoy that. But I watch people a lot of times, and I try to figure why that some people I sort of like, and some people I think, well, how come I don't really like that person? And I don't just dislike them or hate them or nothing, but what is it's that smile? Yeah. Okay, they don't. If we would ever stop and just smile a little bit.
Yeah.
And talk to people a little bit. Take some time to talk to them. And
trust me, anybody that goes with me, they don't like to go anywhere with me because it's like I talk to 10 people before I get where I'm going.
I enjoy that. I like to do it. I don't know. I think I like talking to people, listening to people. I like listening to them, and just tell me about their job and where they've been. And I talked to a guy the other day, and all he done was it cantaloupes? I believe I come home and told you I was up to the swimming pool, and he come out, and all he done was work for a company that hauled up the cantaloupes, but they called them all over the United States, and that's all he did. And I thought that's the coolest thing. I mean, he actually does it 3 months out of the year, all year long, from different places. It brings in stuff like that's just fascinating for me. I'm easy to please when it comes to that kind of stuff. I get fascinated.
Sounds like a lot more fun than working in 100-degree heat.
Oh Lord, yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's get into this, okay? And I was talking to Kendall about this just a little while ago. There's all kinds of jobs out here you can do in this world, okay? I mean, you could be a truck driver, astronaut, a president. Why would anybody want to be a horse trainer?
It's just in your blood. You're just born with it. Mine was emotional. My horse, from my childhood, I ran to my horse for safety. My horse was my safe place. You know, I went there, and if I had a bad day, I went to see my horse. We were certified in equine therapy for a long time, and I believe in it so much because you can't lie to a horse.
Okay.
You cannot lie. They are nonverbal animals. They don't. You can walk up to them. I use this analogy all the time. I can walk up with a loaded gun at a horse standing in the cross ties and say, say, "You're the prettiest horse in the barn," and he'll walk right to me because he ain't paying one bit of word to what I say. He's my mannerisms.
Right.
Or I can run at him and say, you're the prettiest horse in the barn, and he's going to run away. He didn't hear what I said.
Yeah.
So you can't lie about your emotions.
Right.
You can sit all day long and say, oh, I'm good, I'm not nervous. But that horse knows if you are. So I ran to my horse for my safe place. And so
that's interesting.
And I've got a barn. We've got a barn now. We give about 100 riding lessons a week, and it's you sit and you watch. It saves so many kids' lives because that becomes their best friend, and that's someone that is not ever going to tell their secrets.
Right.
And they're happy to see you every time you walk in the door, and that's what my love for horses started out as.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bit about the competition. It was about the relationship with a horse and a rider, and that's what is hard in my business. People don't realize we get a relationship with the kid, you get a relationship with the horse, because let's be real, I'm working a horse for somebody, I'm with that horse 7 days a week.
Right.
That owner's with him twice a week.
Right.
I have a strong relationship with that horse. So when people leave, or they sell them, or they do whatever, it's a hard part of our business.
That makes
because
sense.
they go away, and that's a hard thing.
Yeah.
You just got to hope that they go on to a good place, and
right,
because you get a love for that animal.
So it's not the wealth and the fame.
No.
See, I would have thought that.
No.
I would have thought you're in it for the wealth and the fame and
and
the money and the notoriety and the.
No.
Huh?
No, not at all.
That's strange.
Not at all. I mean, I'm lucky in that have the business. And
I don't think
that's not why I do it.
I don't think you're a bit lucky. I think you know what you're doing.
Oh well, I appreciate
you
that.
work it. You work it. You work the crowd. You know what you're doing. You know your business. And listen, if you didn't by this time, something be wrong with you.
Well, that's what I joke with them all the time. I say, if I don't know by now, I've been training horses that many years. If I don't know what I'm doing now, I'm not paying any attention.
Yeah, it's like I talked to a buddy of mine a minute ago, been married 3 times. He said, I ought to know what makes a good marriage by now. He said, so anyway, well, there's stuff that goes on. Well, you really, I mean, you have set a mark for a whole lot of people.
Well, thank you.
Okay, you really have. And you
I was one of the first that showed speed back in the day. Right. It was a men's class.
Yeah.
And back in central Kentucky, we would go. I used to show with Sue Dunn's daddy. Sue was just a little girl, you know, and but I was one of the first to ever start showing in speed.
And you dress nice too.
Well, thank you.
Right, spiffy. You always look neat in there. I mean, the sharp looking jackets and stuff like that. And you come in looking good, present a horse, tack's clean, your horse looks good.
Well, thank you.
And
it's all about the presentation.
We may have to kick you out every once in a while, like we do, but other than that, that happens.
I keep coming back though, you know.
It's good. It's really good. I mean, I really do. I appreciate what you do, and I know. And I tell you what, you know where you. I'm not saying you always say what's on your mind, because I don't think that's a compliment, but you always know where you stand. If you can ask you, okay, you know, you can ask you about what do you think about such and such, or what do you think about it, and that's important. I mean, we have to do that, and I don't mean everybody always likes it, but you ask somebody, you know, hey, what do you think about such and such? You know what I mean? And a lot of times I won't say nothing. Like you, if somebody don't ask, I won't say nothing, but I'll try. If somebody says, hey, what do you think about this? And we had a class the other night, and somebody said, well, what happened about this horse? And I told them exactly what happened, why it didn't win, why it didn't. I said, here's what it didn't do. And they said, well, I didn't think about that. But I mean, we can share if they ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, do that. Well, now we covered a lot of topics here. We covered a little bit about money. We talked about horses. We talked about favorite horses. But there's one topic that's really important. We haven't really discussed that. What kind of music do you like?
Oh, I'm a country music person.
Old or new?
New country. I'm a pop rock. I'm a pop country.
Like who?
Oh my gosh.
Who are you talking about when you say new country? Because I don't know a lot
Morgan
of
Wallen.
See, I have no idea who that is.
John,
go on with me into something else.
You have not lived.
Why don't
I don't like whiny country.
Okay.
Dolly Partons and Loretta
Is
Lynn's
Jelly Roll a country?
He's a pop country. I like Jelly Roll.
I like Jelly Roll. I've downloaded some of his music a while back.
Yeah.
I heard it. I like him because he seems like a pretty cool guy. I wouldn't want to hang out with him. I believe he drinks and smokes a little too much dope.
Well, I don't think he drinks anymore.
Don't he?
I don't think he does, but he does. He will smoke dope.
I know his wife quit.
Yeah.
She was an alcoholic and she quit. But well,
Have you? You need to watch his conversation with Congress about the opiate crisis.
Okay, I will.
Google that.
Okay.
It's really, really
Yeah.
good. Where he's talking. He went to Congress and spoke on the
Right.
opioid crisis.
Well, that is good. I will watch that.
Yeah.
Now I'm more of a '70s music. I'm the Eagles,
I like
Dr.
the
Hook, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Leonard Skinner.
See,
You know,
Leonard Skinner's a little too rock
I like
for
that.
me.
I tell you what else I do, and I've shared this with some people. I think there's some things. I just think we should dance one dance every day. If you dance a dance every day, it'll add years to your life.
What happens if you
Just-
can't dance?
You're by yourself. You can get a little boogie going on, turn the music on. It makes Janice smile. She's smiling now. Okay,
Just thinking about. I can just see him.
I get me a
dancing.
little. I get a little boogie going on in the hallway, and I wear long drawers. Okay, and I sort of pull them up on the side like that Tom Cruise did when he
Yeah.
slid down that hallway, and I can't quite slide,
No,
but just a little. You just get your little shimmy. I'm telling you,
I'll try that.
it'll make you. It'll add years to your life. You know, and I really found that. I mean, I feel like it. I try my best in it to get me just a little shimmy going. I'm a real creature of habit.
Yeah.
I'm a lockstep. I mean, when I get ready in the mornings, if I do not set everything on the counter in the bathroom, I will not shave, or I'll miss it, or I will not brush my teeth, or I set it all down, just plunk, 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 plunk. I play the music. I got my music. I have to take my phone. I put it up there, turn my music on. I follow the same pattern. I'm a creature of habit with that. If I don't, I get all out of whack. I'm just like that. I don't know. Now, are you a little bit of my son-in-law? Okay, everything has to be just right in the barn.
Right.
Are you like that?
Not really. I mean, like I'm not a neat freak to where this has got to be here and here and here. But I've got a lot of customers come in because, like I say, we give a lot of lessons. We train a lot of saddlebreds. Saddlebred people tend to expect nice. So I expect the barn aisle to be raked and all of that.
Good.
My stalls to be clean, all of that. But I don't. It doesn't matter to me if you leave a brush laying over here that should have been over there. I'm not that fanatical.
Yeah, he is. It's got to be right. And we used to be bad about. We would slip and move a like a lead rope, move one to another halter that he had on one halter.
Oh,
didn't like that at all. Huh? What about his underwear? Oh yeah, when they race and stuff too. Morgan, them real suspicious. Same underwear. I mean, they got stuff that has to be the same stuff. Morgan, absolutely. They got stuff that you can't say on race days, certain words. It's really funny, you know. I mean,
I don't go to that extent.
It's really
superstitious though.
Yeah, well,
I am.
I think we all probably are. If I had enough memory, I probably would be sometimes. But I slip it. Well, I tell you what. When we look at the horse show, like I'm looking at this year, okay, and whenever people are watching this, a lot of you not going to watch it on what we're talking about tonight. But anyway, I see a lot of classes, and I've got a pretty good idea. You know, the horses that could win. But in the Open Speed Racking World Grand Championship in 2024, I don't really know.
I don't either. I do not either.
I don't know.
The ones I figured would be favorites going in aren't as much favorites. And usually you can sit back and say, okay, this one's going to win this and this one's going to win that. And there's been some shocks.
Let's take this. Last year, I thought Sue Dunn was going to win.
I did too before we went out.
And me and you talked about it, okay? I mean, Sue, but and not because of anything notarious or anything that was, what is that word I'm looking for? Nefarious? Does that mean strange? Anyway, not like anything nefarious, but everything. Sue had won and preliminary, she'd done good. She'd locked her down.
Nice
And
horse.
I said, phew, Sue Dunn is going to win. And the horse broke about right here.
Yeah, I was right behind him.
I mean, and just broke right here and just broke our heart. All of our heart. Dreamer's horse broke right there in front of us. And oh gosh. Well, then she dismissed herself.
Yeah.
And I said, they ain't nobody more discouraged than Sue Dunn right now. Her heart's broke. But they ain't nobody happier than Sandy Preston.
Yes.
Okay? That's exactly what I said, sitting right here. I sit right here in the seat.
it actually broke about right
Was
here because it was Kendra and I can't remember who was with
right,
Kendra right with her, and I was behind all of them, right
right.
behind them. And when she broke, I was like,
Oh,
oh no. But and then we got to here, we
right.
went to reverse, and Kendra looked at me and she said, "This is yours now to lose."
Yeah.
She said, "You go win it."
And not because of anything out of whack, but because Woodstock is a bad machine.
He is. He is.
Okay, he is a bad cat.
Yeah, he's a very good horse and super fast.
Yeah, yeah, and anything can happen. Okay,
Yes.
anything could happen. But I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
it was unfortunate for Sue that happened.
it was,
and
that was hard. It broke my heart because I really thought, I said, man, you know, it's just hers to lose, too. Same thing. And then I said, uh-oh, because again, we're not dealing with the perfect science. We're dealing with these animals.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
Anything. But I don't know this year. I really don't know what's going to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't even have a shot at it until because there's going to be horses. I believe there's going to be horses in there I don't even know is going to be in there. And it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Something I pushed for, and I know you and I've shared this before, and it's all right if we don't agree. I don't mind that. You were wrong, but I mean, I don't mind if we disagree. But I want to see a workout in the Dad Burn Open Speed Racking World Grand Championship.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I want to see him do it. Okay?
We used to always
know
there was going to be one.
There was, wasn't there?
There was. Everybody would, but at the time there was 20 head of horses in there. You go in there, you know, you went one lap fast, one lap slow, reverse, one because you knew they were going to pull people in.
Split you up.
Now a lot of times they don't have them anymore.
Right.
In the state.
I hope we have it. I mean, and I feel like we're going to have more horses in there than what we think. I think there's going to be horses in there. And I hope we have a workout because, man, the crowd loves it.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to guess there's going to be about 10 in there. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be huge.
No, I hope there are. I mean, I want to see them in there because everybody's got a chance.
I do believe that this year.
Do.
This year is completely different.
Really do. It's
kind of wide open.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
And normally going in, you have an idea who's the one you got to try to beat.
Right.
You know, and but this year I don't know.
Anything can happen this year, and it really is exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Not going to get a nap today. I know that.
But I know one thing. I sat back and watched because this is one of those years I have to just watch, and I'm like, dear God, they are fast. But then I'll say, but I've passed that one.
That's exactly.
And I've passed that one. Dear God, do I go that fast? That is stupid.
What about these juvenile horses?
Oh, they were flying.
What the world's going on with that?
They were flying.
Somebody, we need to slow
down.
them.
In there, and I was in her ear talking to her, and at one point I was like, "Slow down, slow down, slow down." And when do you say slow down in the speed class?
They
I was
were
saying,
more.
Slow down, you're getting a little fast.
They were flying.
Yeah,
Juveniles are getting faster.
That'll be a good class tonight. Too.
It will be.
That will be.
It will be. Well, I'm enjoying it all. I am. And I'm enjoying it a lot because I don't have no horses to clean up, the stalls to clean when I get back. And that's what somebody told me. They said, do you miss it? And I said, well, I really enjoy looking through your eyes and watching you guys do it and watching you compete and stuff like that and doing whatever we're supposed to do in the background. But I mean, just supporting you guys. And the big thing we're trying to do is I want to keep increasing respect for these speed horses. Yes. I want that respect. I really want them to get the respect I feel like they deserve.
They absolutely do, because people don't realize you got to get a headset, you got to get motion, you got to get all the things, and you have to be able to do it slow and fast.
Right.
And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
To make a really good one that'll stay consistent.
Yeah.
Look good fast and slow, because a lot of horses will look good fast and a lot of horses will look good just slow.
Right.
But like my Windjammer horse, he had a terrible show walk. That was his weakness.
Mm-hmm.
But second gear and third gear, he was really good.
Well, now what you do though a lot, I mean, a lot of horses you ride, and I don't know if this comes back from saddlebreds or where. I mean, you really you're tough on that action on that first in the show walk and in the slow rack. Okay, I mean, you check a horse's head up pretty good. Yes. And stay right on his hind end.
Yes.
Okay, and I mean, you'll ease out when we turn them loose, but I watch you drive a horse up pretty hard.
I like collection.
You make sure you want to drive him up, and I see that.
I want a collected horse. I don't care how fast they are. If they got their head down between their legs and their neck stuck out, I don't like it.
it's funny to watch everybody's style. You can almost tell their horse. You know what I mean? When they hit it, you can tell that's so and so's horse or this horse. You can do that.
Everybody has
Sandy, I appreciate you. I really do. I admire you,
well,
respect you, and you know, I mean, whenever you say something, I take your advice and I listen to it.
Well, I appreciate that.
And I do it. I take it along.
I appreciate all you've done. I've told you myself that I appreciate you taking the speed organization, and
we've enjoyed
I do believe that you have the interest of the organization at heart, and I appreciate all the work you put into it.
Well, you know, I try to be. That's like, you know, I took our meeting from the other day and put it straight online. Everybody, I try to be so transparent that I don't do anything in this thing unless the board votes on it.
Yeah.
Our board, I talk to them. I said, now, what do you think about this? And we don't do anything if we don't agree and vote on that.
Yeah.
And I said, takes the pressure off me.
Yeah.
I said, well, hold on, you done this, and we done it, and that works out good.
Yeah, I think you guys have done a lot with the sponsorships and different things.
The exhibitions have been great.
Yes, that was a lot of fun. It was great to get to do. I got to do the one down here, and then of course Fleetwood sold the horse before the other one, the walking celebration one. But it was nice to get to go show off our speed horses. You know, I try all the time. In the saddlebred world, I've got a couple saddlebred shows have added some speed classes because they find out the crowd loves it.
Right.
And maybe someday I'll be lucky enough to get us an exhibition at Louisville. You know, we went to Academy National Championships last year, I think it was, and they asked us to exhibit speed horses. So we took 3 speed horses down there and exhibited. And that was a lot of fun because the crowd loved it. That was at Murfreesboro last year.
So, well, we need to look into that.
Yes.
I mean, it might be something we can swing.
Yeah, that would be really good. So
getting everybody together is like herding cats.
Yes.
I mean, when you get 5 people like you, okay, when I get all 5 of them people to come together, and I'm handling everybody with kid gloves too, okay?
Yeah.
Because I want you to be happy and I want everybody to work. And boom, but man, it comes together just like the trainer show did. It all just works and come together. It was tremendous.
Yeah, it was a really good exhibition.
Yeah, people loved it.
A lot of fun. The crowd liked it.
Yeah, I see a lot of walking horse people at this show.
A
lot of walking horse people at this show. All right. Thank you. We appreciate you watching. And I appreciate Sandy being with us. You're watching an episode of Just from the Shed, the Road Edition. Adios.